Hey, it's Lowery Smith of the Commander Smiths here with Commander Spotlight with Captain America, and I will also be doing Wolverine kind of in consecutive order. Basically, what this is going to be, I'm going to go through the deck, what I have at this point, what we played, and there should eventually be a video out. I don't know, in a month or two, so I don't know why I'm even plugging it at this point. But that was High Commander. We took a THC drink and kind of had fun with it. And so I'm going to go through the deck. It's changed a little bit since even 48 hours ago, but you can go on Moxfield, find the Commander Smiths. You can follow us if you like the decks, and then you can also check out the deck list for the most part. I'm always changing my decks, so um, I'll keep them updated eventually. I don't know. So, but I'm going to start with Captain America. I'm going to read through it and then we'll kind of run through the deck really quick. But Captain America is a red and a white and a blue for 4 legendary creature. At the beginning of your combat step, you are allowed to equip an equipment to it for free. And then you can pay 3, unattach any equipment, and then Captain America deals damage up to 1, 2, or 3 equal to the CMC of the equipment. So if it's 6, you can go like 2, 2, 2, or 1, 2, 4, or that's not even right. 1, 2, 3. But yeah, he's really, really cool. I like it. I liked it a lot. This was a lot of fun to play with. I'll admit that right off the bat. Um, what else is that? I should probably plug the Commander Smiths. We do a podcast every Monday night for the most part. Vikings are playing tonight. Adam uh didn't end up being able to go, but we normally record at this point, we will be recording our weekly podcast Tuesday night, and everything should get back to normal. Hopefully everybody has some good holidays coming up. I know Christmas is happening soon. Um and that's it. But yeah, podcast. We do videos on YouTube here. If TikTok's still around, you can check us out there. Instagram. We have stopped Twitter at this point officially. We probably should make an announcement on the actual podcast for that. But yeah, we try and stay pretty active and we have a lot of fun. So on the live chat, thanks for anybody that does show up at this point. Please give a thumbs up, a like, share, subscribe, comment or anything. If you are a not live, 1.5 speed, two times speed, you'll get through this a lot quicker, see everything that you want to see, and that'll do you just right. I'll try and fly through some of the deck choices and stuff like that. Let's see if I can get a good spot. So I'm just going to go through the deck, tell you what's going on. Adam does a version of this that's a lot cleaner. That he does it on the computer. I don't do that as much as I can. So Forensic Gadgeteer reduces your equip cost by 1, but any activated ability of an artifact by 1. So clues are 1. You're drawing cards with this. It's working really well with Forensic Gadgeteer. Pure Steel Paladin and SRAM. You're drawing cards off the equipment that you're casting. Enthusiastic Mechanaut is reducing the cost by 1 for artifacts. Signet's supposed to be a talisman. I'll eventually get to that. Borrow's Charm for giving everything indestructible. You want to make sure that your equipment survive any sort of Vandal Blast type stuff. Glint Nest Crane, when it ETBs, look at the top 4 cards, put an artifact into your hand from that. It's just a way to search for artifacts because you're a pretty heavy deck. And that's just Command Tower. Goblin Sharpshooter, pretty cool. Whenever a creature dies, you get to untap it. It taps to deal 1 damage. So if it has Death Touch, you can kill all of your opponent's creatures. Basilisk Collar, just what I was talking about. Death Touch, lifelink, gain a bunch of life. Sword of Sinew and Steel. It's there to destroy an artifact and also just more equipments on theme. Pro Black and Pro Red. Akiri, Fearless Voyager. Whenever Captain America attacks, you get to draw a card, and then you can unequip an equipment to give Captain America indestructible. So it's draw for the most part and can be protection. Shield of Cauldra. Let's see if let me get rid of that. There we go. It's indestructible, gives Captain America indestructible. That's pretty good there. Tezzeret, Betrayer of Flesh. That is for the cost reduction of an equipment. Also the draw to discard, and also the whenever an artifact taps, draw a card. So it's mostly for these two, and then if you can get to that point, you're just probably going to win the game. Armored Sky Hunter, look at the top six, put an equipment from them into play, equipped to something. Aether Sworn Canonist, that's a new ad. But each player who has played a non-artifact spell this turn can't cast additional non-artifact spells. So it kind of stops counter spell wars. You are very heavy in the artifacts. So more than likely you can play one non-artifact spell, but then you can play a couple artifact spells and that'll be just fine. So it should slow down your opponents and not you nearly as much. Chief Engineer gives your artifacts convoke, so you can tap your creatures for mana essentially in this deck. I like the surveil stuff. Cloudsteel Kieran, the equipment, they are equipment, so you can, it's cheap and easy, but the equip costs tend to be high. So this one's 5, but equipping it for free is really, really nice. And so you can't lose the game essentially, and your opponents can't win the game. Um, it's build your own Platinum Angel. It's a nice way to do it. Um, Another batch. We have some lands. Ingenious Smith. Again, look at the top 4 cards. Put an artifact into your hand, and then whenever an artifact once per turn comes into play, you get to put a 1/1 counter on it under your control. Goblin Engineer is there just to kind of get some of your swords back. But you get to go search for any artifact, put in your graveyard, and you can pay a red, sack an artifact, and then bring an equipment back for the most part. Esper Sentinel artifacts, so on theme, but also just amazing draw. More Revolts is pretty good. So you get to pay 3, discard a card, tap it. Look at the top X cards for as many artifacts as you have, and put any of those cards into your hand. So it's a dig deep on that one. Talisman. You got Bronze Guardian. All your artifacts have Ward 2. It has double strike, and Ward 2 itself. So it's pretty cool. I like it. Sword of the Animus, equipment that whenever it attacks, you get to go put a basic land into play tapped. Nazgul Battle Mace, another one that has Death Touch, so works with the sharpshooter, but also is just a menace for sure. Gives menace, but also whenever an opponent sacrifices non-token permanent, you get to kind of steal it unless they pay 3. So this is a great card in there. Land. We do play with proxies. Obviously that is not the original card. We play with proxies if you own them. That is kind of our rule, but you can do whatever you want. We give out proxies to our patrons. So you can kind of check out our Patreon. Argentum Armor, that equipment cost is always kind of rough. So +6/+6 whenever it attacks. Destroy target permanent, but if it's just 6 and then free equip, it's kind of nice. Infiltration Lens, equipment that whenever the creature is blocked, you get to draw 2 cards, and that will stack for as many creatures that block it. So that's kind of nice in that regard. Dawn's Truce, giving all of your stuff indestructible and hexproof, I believe. If you gift, that's the indestructible part, but totally worth it if it's going to save your whole board. Greaves, Captain America's Aid, which is Sigarda's Aid. Flash equipment, free equip for 1 white is crazy value in this deck. Teferi's Protection for that protection. Soul Ring. Strionic Resonator, I think, this is kind of one that's probably my loose slot. But there's a lot of effects on the equipment whenever something triggers, like on combat damage or attack a lot of the time. And I was thinking it'd be nice to double it up and have some of that flexibility. I've also thought that this could just be another give double strike to a card, be it Lizard Swords or the enchantment that does it every upkeep. But right now, it'll be nice with the Argentum Armor to be able to on the attack trigger, or so that's kind of the point. And then our Venner's Fair, Monumental Henge, Robe of the Arch Magi. It's 4 to equip, but the free equip is really nice. And then whatever damage Captain America does, you get to draw that many cards. Leyline Axes, double strike, trample, +1/+1. It's a beater and a bruiser. Ponder, nice little cantrip. Ornithopter of Paradise. I almost put this in every non-green deck. Plaza of Heroes. Adam has a really cool Marvel proxy. Probably have it in the Wolverine deck, so we'll be able to get that checked out. The Reaver Cleaver, +1/+1 and trample, and any damage dealt, you get that many treasures. It's fantastic. And then Arcane Signet with the Thanos glove there. We're about half done. Mox Opal. Ember Cleave is double strike trample, +1/+1, and cheap to free equip. Bitter Thorn is the sort of the Animus, but with the living weapon. Helm of the Cauldra. Yep, I'm going for Cauldron this one for sure. Eventually, whenever I get that, I'll probably just pull it and then be happy that I've been able to do it finally. But first strike, trample, haste, it does some work. There's a Saga, Wayfarer's Bauble for some cheap ramp, Bonder's Enclave for some Urza High Lord Artificer. I just like turning those equipment into blue mana. It's a nice ramp card in this deck, especially without the any green in there. Artificer's Assistant, you get to scry a lot in that deck. Commander's Plate, nice protection, a little boost. Could potentially be cut for something else, but I'm pretty happy with the deck. Talisman, we have Academy Ruin to get anything back on tap, any artifacts kind of back into play. Sword of Fire and Ice. One little hitch that I've kind of noticed is something like Embercleave with Fire and Ice. You can't equip it since it's pro red. And so that doesn't mesh perfectly. And some of the swords are kind of getting a problem. Tad. Urza's for life. I get it. It was in here. I'm not going to complain too much. But the pro red can be problematic with a couple of cards like Embercleave, like I was saying. So you do got to watch it a little bit, but it has not been a problem so far. Dragon's Rage Channeler, you get to surveil whenever you cast an equipment. Crystal Skull, Isu Spyglass. It's a little bit of mana, and being able to cast artifacts off the top of your deck is not bad. And the last piece of Cauldra is Sword of Cauldra. Nice thing here, too, is 5/5, 4 to come into play, free equip on Captain America. But whenever you do the pay 3 unequip, the Death Touch works with it very much like Sharpshooter, but also this, whenever equipped creature deals damage, not combat damage, deals damage to a creature, remove the creature from the game. So you can pay 3, unequip something that can at least deal 3 damage. You go exile that creature, exile that creature, exile that creature, and that's doing some work right there. Top for sure, Padim, Council of Innovation, giving your artifacts hexproof and a little bit of draw, likely. Thought Monitor, 2/2, draw 2 cards when it ETBs. And the last little bit, Key to the Vault. Whenever it deals damage, you get to look at the top cards of how much damage you've dealt and cast one of them for free. Do you have a Cauldron token if you complete the set? Cauldron token does not exist officially. I do have a proxy token in my tokens, but I don't care to go look for it. It looks pretty sweet, but I've given up at this point. I doubt I'll ever do it. Oh, somebody always removes my shit. So Mithril Coat is for the protection with the indestructible. Reality Chip is really nice too. 2 mana for an 0/4. Captain America comes down. You move it over and you can just cast spells off the top of your deck and play lands. It's pretty good in here. Preordained, just a nice little cantrip. Karn's Legacy Reforged. This gives you colorless mana equal to at least 5, so the highest artifact CMC that you have. You can use that to equip with your equipment or just cast artifact spells. So it's pretty nice in that regard, and it's at least a 5/5, so a little bit of a beater as well. Archway of Innovation, just making sure there's a potential for Inspire in the deck. Hearth and Home, blinking a creature, getting a basic land, not a bad deal. Cauldron Complete, that's solid equipment as well. I've had it kind of stuck in the hand a little bit at this point, but it's still pretty cool. It's just going to be the biggest beater that you have available. Grand Architect should be in any blue artifact deck. Other blue creatures get +1/+1. Target artifact creature becomes blue until end of turn, and then you can tap an untapped blue creature you control to add 2 colorless mana to your pool. Spend it only for artifacts or activated abilities of artifacts. It's such a huge ramp card in artifact blue decks. Brainstorm, Rivendell is a great. I love Rivendell for sure. Charisma. Let's just and Swiftfoot boots for the protection. Charisma is pretty cool when it comes to uh, Captain America when he's dealing damage. If you go 1, 2, 3 instead of killing it with the death touch, you can steal them if you're not killing them. And so, whenever enchanted creature deals damage to a creature, uh, you control the creature as long as charisma remains in play. So, nice little bit there. That's the deck right there. Let's play through it a little bit. All right, so it looks like it took about 15 minutes to run through the deck. I'm gonna play through this probably 3 times, which I'm gonna try and keep it under about a half hour per deck, if that makes sense. Then we're calling it a night and making sure I want to catch maybe the tail end of the Vikings game, and that you know they've been fun to watch this year. They've been impressive. And just everybody in the NFC North, really, other than the Bears, have been pretty solid. So, I'm just gonna fast play this just so you can kind of see how it runs, what the expectations are a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll show you what's going on. So, starting hand, I end up with 3 land. It's almost perfect. I'll probably go red blue for the free spell. Embercleave, Ingenious Smith, Basilisk Collar is looking really nice. We definitely start with this. Helm of Cauldra. So what we want to end up going and getting is probably something red to make sure we can get with the Perilous Landscape. And that comes into play tapped, but it's been pretty nice. I am running those instead of Ash Barrens in the 3-color decks, and I've liked them. Oh, that's not good. I'm running about 6 basics, which is a little thin, but artifact lands have a lot of support. Or artifacts in the lands have a lot of support. So there's not a ton of room, and it works out. And this is a slow spot, is finding lands, because generally we don't tutor, we try and not counterspell, and we don't combo. So I'm sure there's combos that I'm not doing or missing or whatever, but it's fine. I got Cauldron complete. We do not have. Let's see here. We'll go white, and we'll go with Ingenious Smith. Look at the top 4, 3, 4. And we would pull Infiltration Lens, being the only artifact. That goes on the bottom. Turn 3. Let's go with Spire of Industry. We will pay colorless for the Infiltration Lens. Get a counter on there. And then we'll go, we have a artifact out, so we'll go red-blue for the Mechanaut, which will allow me to play Basilisk Collar for free. And then the next turn, we will end up, oh, that's nice. Surveil land, looking at the Bronze Guardian. We have 4 mana. I need to get to mana because I have Cauldron complete, Embercleave. Let's just bin that. We'll say red, white, blue, bring in Captain America, and then we will equip the Basilisk Collar for free. So now it's a 4/4. And I guess, yeah. All right. Let's see here. 4 mana. Draw. Let's see here. Would have been nice to get a 5. I think we can do Helm of Cauldron. Get another counter on the Smith. Equip Infiltration Lens over to this, to Captain America. And then I guess I have 1 open because of the Mechanaut. So that's the equip. 1, 2, 3 to come down. Second counter. I did a top, so I'll get that down for free with the Mechanaut. and free equip. So first strike, trample, and haste over there. So we have 3 on there. If they decide to block, I get to draw 2 cards, but more than likely they're not going to, and I'll just deal 4 damage, gain 4 life. Also, if you're worried, you have a good blocker with that touch and first strike, and 1 mana left over, top, and you saying go. We're gonna put Plateau on top, and then probably Forensic Gadgeteer there. And then not gonna worry about it. Next turn, we're doing 5. All right, let's see here. I can say white colorless 3 for the Cloud Steel Kieran. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And so what I can do is I can free equip with the Kieran. So I can't lose and they can't win. I will attack. I would definitely attack right now, or I guess I get another counter on the Smith with the Kieran coming into play. Can attack with the Mechanaut and then reduce by 1, 2, 3 for Embercleave. 3, 4, 5, 6 coming into play. And I could probably put it on the Mechanaut as well. But so it's 4, 5, 10 more than likely damage, and you'll probably start winning the game pretty quick. I think I missed 1, so that's turn 6 at that point. Let's run through it one more time, but that felt pretty smooth other than 1 missed land drop at that point. But I'm not displeased by it. And it, Cauldron Complete comes down when I get it next. Gadgeteer probably doesn't do much at that point either. But you have a top, and top saves you. That's all it does. We'll put that on the bottom, shuffle up a little bit. But right there, you're starting to get into it. You've become a bit of a threat, especially if you can pull any sword that isn't red. You don't want to knock off your Embercleave, but it's it can get pretty aggressive, and you can leave the mana up if you don't want to be so aggressive with it and start getting rid of creatures. You have the Basilisk Caller there, so you can start kind of just pinging away things and still attacking, and it's not too bad at that point. There we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's take a look. Take a drink real quick. All right. 1, 2, excuse me. 2 pieces of ramp. 3 pieces of ramp. Not looking too bad at all. All right. We'll start with that. We will surveil land. I just drew a land. We'll put a land on in the graveyard. Next turn, we have a mountain. We will tap it to do Arcane Signet. Turn 3, we will put a Spire of Industry down. That's 4. So more than likely, I should have probably reversed and put the Talisman down last turn. So we will, let's think about it a little bit more. 1, 2, Talisman down, red, white, blue. Probably just go 1, 2, 3 and get these Sword of Fire and Ice out. Next turn, draw Urza Saga. Not a bad one. I'll actually put that down. We will say Red, blue, white. Get Captain America into play. I have 3 mana open. Let's see here. I have 1, 2, 3. 5, 6. Not quite enough to do Thought Monitor. So we'll do a Bitter Thorn. Get that into play. And then has a little creature there. Represent that. And then I would probably free equip the Fire and Ice for the protection aspect, attack, likely deal, 6 damage, 2 damage to a creature to kill it, draw a card. We're drawing a Leyline Axe, and that's going to be beautiful next turn. We do have that can make a dude. Let's see here, Scalding Tarn. I'll just leave it there. I don't need to go and search right now. I could probably do it, but okay. So we have a pretty good setup. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana at this point. I can't put Embercleave on the Sword of Fire and Ice, and that's okay. We will go 1, 2. Let's see here. We'll probably make a Construct. Let's do that. We're a little creature light in the deck and roll it a little bit slower. 4 mana for a Leyline Axe coming into play. And then free equip. And probably attack with the Bitter Thorn, Captain America. Might as well get the land now. So go and get some sort of duel. We'll just do it. Took 2 damage from the fountain, and we'll go and put a plains into play for that. And then likely we're getting through for 6. Doesn't get 7. So it's a 7/7 pro red and blue double strike trample, and then dealing the damage twice. So more than likely going to be able to draw 2 cards, deal 4 damage divided twice by 2. So we'll just go 1, 2. We got a Mox Opal and a Volcanic Island. We've played our land this turn. We will, let's see here. Mana wise or artifact wise, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so we will pay the Mox Opal for blue into a Thought Monitor, a little bit of a chump blocker, but draws us 2 more cards. Dragon's Rage and a Plains. So we're running pretty good right now. They probably would have killed Bitter Thorn. Let's pretend that's what happened. Draw for turn. And this is looking pretty good. We have some protection now. Play I guess I would have also with the Urza's Saga, I would have paid 2, made a second construct, go and get something of 1 or 0, put it in my hand. Probably just a Soul Ring. What do we got? We got anything stuck in the hand? Not really. So Shadow Spear? No, probably a Basilisk Collar. That's probably what we would go and get. Basilisk Collar makes it guaranteed, almost guaranteed that we're going to get through on the Trample Double Strike. Because with First Strike, you can just go Death Touch, kill it, Death Touch, kill it, and anything left over, they'd have to block it with 7 creatures just to block that first strike damage that I'm still trampling through. So it's gonna be that with Death Touch. If I can miss it, oof. Let's see here. So we have 2 constructs. They're both 8/8s at this point. Have a little bit of protection on Captain America. Let's just keep that up there if I fuck up again. Things right there. There it is. All right, Basilisk Collar into play. because if you are able to do Basilisk Caller, then you can hang around as well. I don't know what I would do. Okay. So Basilisk Caller comes into play. This will be when I got 2 games in. Probably expect that for all right. Into play. I have 2 constructs. Playing the land for turn. Let's go with red for the Dragon's Rage Channeler. And we will probably, let's see here. Let's try and put an equipment on Thought Monitor. We want to make sure that we're leaving 2 up for the truce. We have Commander's Plate that will come into play. We will surveil. That can go to the yard. Leave that open. We're attacking, getting a mana. We are auto-equipping that over. We're going to be able to draw 2, dealing 2 damage twice. We're rolling right now. So looking pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is turn 6. I don't think I missed any land drops. And I was looking pretty good on turn 5. So not going to auto win on anything, but it's can be real aggressive. I probably would have removed 3 creatures, 4 creatures there. And we'll call that doing pretty good. Again, I'm not looking to necessarily win the game there, but I am looking to be aggressive. I want to be a threat. I want to be involved in the game. And that's where I want it to be. So I'm going to move over to Wolverine here now. We'll go through the deck and we'll see how it goes. I kind of changed this up. I probably was more disappointed with this one when I was playing the games. Oop, we got some potential add-ins. Still playing around with the ideas at this point. But Wolverine is 1 in a red and a green for 2/2. You can regenerate it for a green and a colorless. And then double all damage that Wolverine does. Not just combat damage, but all damage dealt by Wolverine. Again, proxy looking pretty good by Adam. Thank you. And then let's go through the deck. Again, that goes about 15 minutes, and then we'll play through at least 2 games. Artist's talent is sweet. I've really, really liked a lot of the talents from Bloomborough. But whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you can discard a card to draw a card. Non-creature spells cost 1 less when you level it up. And then this third one is if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or permanent opponent controls, it deals that damage +2. So it's doing everything that I want this deck to be doing. It's pretty nice. Fall of Care Andros. This is a new add, but it's kind of been in and out. But whenever a creature an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, amass orcs X, which is, you just get another creature out of it, and it works pretty well on some of the stuff. The Ozolith Adamantium Bonding Tank. It's just if your 1/1 counters go away, you can get them back on Wolverine when he comes back. Demand Answers, which is discard a card, draw 2 cards. Fall of Galad.
Keep getting read.
It's hard. I don't know how I read Lord of the Rings at all. So scry 2, put 2 1/1 counters on it, so on theme, and then it gets to fight, and if it dies, get to draw 2 cards. More than likely, not aiming to have Wolverine die too much, but it works. Seedborn Muse, just there, being able to untap Wolverine after the regeneration. You can do that every turn, and whenever he's blocking, it's just kind of nice. But also, there's some instant speed, protection, and removal in the deck. So Seedborn Muse is a fantastic card. Tarian Soul Cleaver is a kind of an all-star for me. But whenever another artifact or creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on the creature, also gaining vigilance, which is really nice in this deck because if Wolverine can block every turn, you're putting more counters on him. I have to read that part. At the end of each turn, if he deals damage a creature, you get to put a 1/1 counter on it. So when he's dealing damage to creatures once per turn, you want to be putting counters on him so he's bigger and bigger and bigger. But Tarian's Soul Cleaver does everything perfectly. I love it. Show stopping surprise. 5 mana instant. Choose target creature you control. Wolverine. The face up part doesn't matter. And then it deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. So if Wolverine's a 2/2 and you're only dealing 2 damage to everything, that is still doubled because the creature Wolverine is dealing the damage. Thusly, it would be at least 4 damage being dealt, and then you get to at least put 1 counter on there. If Soul Cleaver's in play, every creature that dies gives him a 1/1 counter. Then you can swing, and if he's an 8/8, you're dealing 16 damage. You probably just wiped the board, and you just probably killed a person or 2. So it's what I'm looking forward to. I did it in the video. Killed 1 person, almost killed another. Hull Breach, just efficient removal. Keswick Wolf Run to give Wolverine that trample. Stocking the Pantry. Whenever you put a 1/1 counter, essentially on Wolverine, put a counter on this. You can remove a counter, paying 2, draw a card that way. Dragon's Rage Channeler, another one. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Surveil 1. Sanctum Weaver, new one today, but tap to add X mana of where the amount of enchantments that you have. I have a handful of enchantments, but I'm just looking for something that can generate a handful of mana at one point. The One Ring, drawing cards. You're going to run out in this deck. Make sure that you have really good card draw. Swiftfoot Boots for that protection. I don't have Greaves in here just because I target Wolverine a bunch. Nature's Lore for that mana. Incubation Druid, you put a 1/1 counter on it. It can tap for 3 mana. Again, I was saying, like, looking for stuff that can ramp me pretty hard. Torolf's God of Fury. Whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, Torolf deals damage equal to the excess to any target other than that permanent. So essentially, if you do a wipe the board or some sort of fight, any excess damage you can move on to another creature or to the opponent, and you just start winning the game that way. Soul's Fire. Target creature you control in play deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. And so if Wolverine's big, it deals that damage. It's doubled, and it's just direct damage from Wolverine. It's not going to have commander. It's not going to be commander damage, but it can deal a lot of damage. Togo Goblin Weaponsmith, another one that was new today, but I'm kind of excited for this. But whenever land at ETBs, you get to create a rock equipment. That equipment has equip 1, and then the creature gains pay 1, tap it, sack a rock. The creature deals 2 damage to any target. So it limits Wolverine on its power, but if you're just sack it and it's any target, so you can do 4 damage, it's doubled because it's the creature dealing the damage, but it has to be 2. So pretty cool in that regard. Lion Umbra, +3/+3, Vigilance, Reach. Umbra armor has to be on something with modified. Wolverine has 1/1 counters on it, which are modified. Thunderscape Familiar. Green spells cost 1 less. Surveil lands have been really nice. Skarg to give trample. We have Overprotect. Target creature gets +3/+3, trample, hexproof, and indestructible. So it's a great protection spell. It pumps him. He's going to get through in this regard. Real nice and tricky in that regard. Hardened Scales. Instead of 1 counter, it's going to be 2. Inspiring Call. Creatures with 1/1 counters on them gain indestructible, and then you get to draw a card for each creature you have with a 1/1 counter on it. Arcane Signet with the Thanos Gauntlet, Rhythm of the Wild, Ancient Tomb, Cavern Horde Dragon. Just some more of that ramp. Just kind of for the treasures. It's kind of what it is. We'll see how that goes. Bonder's Enclave, just for land, draw Sakura Tribe Elder to go and get basic lands into play. Faithless Looting for that good stuff. Questing Druid, getting access to 2 extra cards. Also, 1/1 counters are placed on him. You have some 1/1 counter stuff going on in here. So, Cathedral Acolyte. It can tap to put a 1/1 counter on a creature that came into play this turn, and creatures you control with a 1/1 counter on it have Ward 1. Nice little ditty. Goblin, I'm not going to say that, but green spells and red spells cost 1 less. That is only once per turn. Bone Horde Trachosaur. This can get you creatures. This can get you treasures, and this gets you the availability to cast spells. So done a lot. Mizzix's Mastery. You have a lot of draw cards that are discarding cards, and so being able to cast a lot of these instants and sorceries from the graveyard is a nice part. Detection Tower, just being able to target their stuff is nice. But for ramp repercussion, very similar to Terolf, but whenever it doesn't matter about the like over damage, it's just any damage dealt to any creature is going to deal damage to the player, the controller. And so if you Chandra's Ignition, Wolverine, every creature takes 4 other than Wolverine. You don't have a lot of creatures in here. Sucker Ramp uh, creatures are going to get hit. But otherwise, you're going to kill that Black Panther player that has a ton of creatures out in that regard. So that's a nice little finisher that isn't so, I'm not running Blasphemous Act or any of those really big Extinction Star, like those ones that really truly end games. So this is more of an interesting add in here, I think. Bite Down is just dealing Wolverine's power to any other creature. So another one that can really help with repercussions. Force of Vigor, just efficient removal on artifacts and enchantments. Cosmic Hunger is just another Bite Down. I think I have 2 more. Rancor, +2/+0, and Trample, just a way to get Wolverine through. Waltz of Rage, and the last one, that is target creature deals damage equal to its power to each creature in play. And so it's just kind of its own type of wrath card that's going to leave Wolverine around. Jessica's Will is an amazing card. Kind of should go in every red deck, but since it's Marvel themed as well, it's going to go in the deck. Silk Guard, giving hexproof to creatures with 1/1 counters on them, and can also put 1/1 counters on creatures. Ram Through, another one that deals damage to an opponent's creature. Wheel of Fortune, just to load your hand back up for sure. Real possibility. Discarding a draw. Chandra's Ignition. Wolverine's damage to each opponent and creature. So that will all double in that regard. Mana Geyser, another new one in here, but this is just a huge, ramp card to be able to get down, probably a repercussion or a Turl, and then also some removal spells. Heroic Intervention for that protection. Ozolith, the Shattered Spire, just putting more 1/1 counters on the Wolverine. Top is in there. Rabid Gnaw, dealing that damage, Wolverine's power to another creature. Biophagus, mana, 1/1 counter for the creature. Season of Growth, whenever a creature you control comes into play, you get to scry, and whenever you target one of your creatures, you get to draw a card. Wheel of Fortune, Misfortune for the draws. Rampant Growth for the ramp. Ordeal of Nylea is one of my favorites. But whenever it's an aura, Wolverine attacks, put a 1/1 counter on it. If it has 3 or more counters on it, you get to sacrifice this and go get 2 basic lands into play tapped. Arcane Lighthouse, just the ability to target your opponent's stuff. War Room, a little bit of draw. Soul Ring, Farseek for that ramp. Elven Farsight, just to be able to see further into the future. But it's just scrying, and if you have a creature in there, you get to put it in your hand. Livewire Lash is a pretty cool card as well. Equipped creature gets +2/+0, and whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell, this creature deals 2 damage to any target. Wolverine is the creature, and it's going to double. So it's 2, really 4 to any creature or player because it's any target. I love this card in my Feather deck as well. 3 visits for that ramp. Collective Resistance. If you notice, some of the the removal's all targeting Wolverine, so that's nice. So target creature gains hexproof and indestructible, and then you also can destroy artifact and enchantment with the escalate aspect. Shadow Spear, therefore, he's doing a lot of damage. You can gain a lot of life that way, and a Sylvan Library to try and fill up your hand. So that is that right there. He's pretty good. My biggest problem over the weekend when I was playing with them was that I didn't get the ramp, so I was just falling behind. So I think I had 15 in here, and so today I kind of worked on it, and I think I got it up to like 18. So hopefully it's a little bit more consistent in the next games that I play. Um, Again, you can check out these deck lists for the most part. You know, they're probably like 80% accurate at this point, maybe 90. Um, and all of it on Moxfield on the under the Commander Smiths. Adam has a bunch of decks. I want to say we have 50 plus decks. We're kind of always making decks every set that's coming out. We're always trying to keep up on that. It's a lot of fun, in my opinion. So let's see how it goes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You want to make sure you have, you know, certain amount of land, certain amount of ramp. 1, 2, 3. I like Tyrion Soul Cleaver, protection, ramp, and draw. Just kind of has everything that I want in there, right? Okay, we would end up drawing this. I'm gonna go get a forest, and I will end up playing Tyrion Soul Cleaver on turn 1. I lose a life. I'm not gonna care about that. And you don't want to hurt yourself too bad, but I doubt the deck is going to be doing that. So I don't have to track it. I'm just trying to play this pretty quick. Turn 2, we will get Pain Land into play, and then we will Sakura Tribe Elder. Steve. All right. And then you'd block and then sacrifice, go and get a mountain just to have even amount. Basic mountain. Let's see here. This half of the deck had all the forests. I don't like that. So I don't know if I'm going to run Wolverine out or not, but need to at least draw. And we'll see. Draw. All right. That's not a bad deal. Excuse me. All right. Let's see here. I think what I want to do is run out the Goblin and Necromancer. And then I had a colored spot. That'd be nice. But I think what we'll do is we'll lay down the War Room. There isn't much I'm going to be able to do. And so I'll pay a red, demand answers. I will discard the Ancient Tomb to draw 2 cards before my turn. Not a bad deal. Draw a card. We will Temple of Abandon, Scry. We got a Soul Ring. We're going to bop on to the bottom. We will red, green, colorless with the Goblin, bring Wolverine into play. We will pay 1 for the Soul Ring, and then we will pay 2 to put the Soul Cleaver on Wolverine. We have 1 left over for the Heroic Intervention if need be. Pretend that we're doing that. Still ramping pretty nice. More than likely what I want to do this turn is I probably want to get the Bonehorde Dracosaur down just to make sure that we are continuing to see cards. So red, 4 and 5 for the Dracosaur. We have some mana open. We can probably, if there's any problematic artifacts and enchantments, we can hull breach it. But right now, I'll do the Biophagus 2, and then we have regeneration stuff going in. We attack with Wolverine. I think being aggressive with Wolverine, if you can have the mana open, is pretty nice. Dracosaur, top 2. We get 1 treasure. We will play 1 land. That'll stay in exile. And we'll draw a normal card as well. So that is a land, but we'll definitely be hull breaching this time. I have a war room. So we will 1, 2, 3 to draw a card, take 2 life. Rankers, not a bad deal. We likely had some creatures die, so Wolverine's bigger than it should be. I probably should have done that, but we will, we'll probably Ranker on there. He's going to be huge. You're getting through. And this is where things, you got to make sure that you're getting through. So do they kill the Bone Horde? Maybe. You got a war room on play. You can be real aggressive here. And that's kind of how I would look at it. It's not a bad spot. I don't love it, but I think, the thing is there's only 3 of those 5 mana damage wraths. There's only that many. I'm sure I could go and find some more that don't involve Wolverine doing the damage, but I kind of want to have that be the case. So there's the 3. And if I can get more, I'll take it. Wizards. If you could do that, I would appreciate it. But Chandra's Ignition is an amazing card. And anything that's close to that level of power, I love it. So I will look forward to more, even though we just got one in the fall. So that is the sadness. If I can get another type of repercussion, that'd be sweet too. I like Torolf, but I know that's a really powerful card. So 4, 5, 6, 7. Do we have 1, 2, 3? I am pretty happy with this hand, I would say. We have a Faithless Looting, Ozolith, Questing Druid. Yeah, this I like the hand. Go red for the Ozolith. Get that down. We'll go green. The deck is heavy green, so that will the flip lands are almost always going to be. I guess the other question is there anything else that I want to be putting down? Not really. So I think I'll go Faithless Looting. Keep the land in my hand. Let's get rid of Passage just because I don't want to shuffle at this point, and then we can get rid of. Am I going to have the basics? Maybe not. So Cynic Glade goes away, and then we will play a Temple tapped. Ooh, I do like that. Okay, we'll keep Wheel of Misfortune on top. Land for turn. Let's erase Wolverine out. Hopefully nobody has any removal for it. There we go. We have a Soul Ring. Is that what we're doing? Not much I can do there, but I think it's a setup. It's a Soul Ring into, let's say, red colorless with the Questing Druid. That's adventured away. We have 2 lands, which is perfect. We have 1 just sitting there. We have 1 floating, and we will likely run that green out there for the Questing Druid. Probably getting greedy there. I should have been. You're right. It's leave back Wolverine, regenerate. And then maybe surprise in the collective and destroy an artifact or an enchantment. Probably wrong there. Just playing aggressive. Ooh. The 1 ring. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We will have Stomping Ground, deal us 2 damage. We will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do the Questing Druid and a Seedborn Muse. And we will basically untap. I don't have any abilities, but we are just leaving that open. Next turn. We got a lot here. Okay, let's see. We have hardened scales. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. And we will likely just do the one ring. And that's going to be gangbusters with those two. We got that. I could probably get rid of the Wheel of Misfortune. So instant speed, thrill, discard the Misfortune, draw 2, but I would have drawn 1, 2 on opponent, 1, 2, 3 on the second opponent, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth. Untapping by my turn, taking 4 damage off that. Normal draw, normal land, nothing crazy. Did we? And then we're basically looking for, show-stopping surprise. So what are we doing here? I mean, this is where it comes into play. Like, the game is kind of over. Let's get to one more game. So we get a third one out of this. But yeah, if you get one ring with Seedborn Muse, like, you're going to be doing really well. But I had a repercussion, and then I had the show-stopping one. And so that's what the hope would have been. Maybe wait one turn, have some mana open, play a lot of support cards, and then the next turn go repercussion into showstopper. Hopefully Wolverine's a little bit bigger. That's probably what I would have done. Maybe see what kind of auras or equipment I could have put on Wolverine, but I was happy with that part right there much more than the first game. First game I wasn't like upset, it's just lackluster. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I don't think it started bad, but it just wouldn't have been a threat. That one was being a threat. 1 mana. We don't play with that. We'll just shuffle that in. Look at the next set. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Another one lander. Let's see if that next one. Rough. All right. That is. I'm running 34 land in here. So, I mean, if I'm seeing 2 mana, I'm keeping most hands. 4, 5, 6, 7. But plumping or something. Definitely don't want that. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not mad at it. We'd keep that. Red into a Dragon's Rage Channeler. We have a Mizzix's Mastery. So anytime we're seeing an instant or sorcery, we're binning it almost. Forest into this can be fun here too. Artisan's Talent. So that's going to surveil. Ooh, I like the Soul Cleaver. I like it a lot. So we'll keep that. We will Tarian Soul Cleaver. Land for turn. We're going to. All right. What do we want to do here? Okay, we're gonna up that a level. I think that's what we kind of want. I think it's slow rolling it quite a bit. It might be too slow for what's going on, but we can do something. We can tear like non-art or non-creature spells cost 1 less. So we're casting with the Dragon's Rage, surveilling that into the graveyard. Then we're going to discard a card to draw a card. Ooh. All right. And then we go into a Shadow Spear that allows I can do that for free again. So we will surveil. And that's a Lion Umbra. Do I like that? Yeah, I got 2 equipment here that say that you like it. But I think we bin it. And then is there something that I want to, I'll discard the Faithless Looting to draw a card off. We got a Seedborn Muse, seeing a bunch of cards here. Not displeased at this point. Cosmic Hunger. I think we go green and a 1 for 3 visits. We will surveil. I like that. We will cosmic hunger, discard that, get a soul ring into our hand, and then go get a forest and put that into play. Taiga. So I like how that's going. Those are working pretty nice together. Just setting the top, seeing if I like it or not, and then trying to draw off of it. Soul ring costs one less, so we will surveil. We'll bin that. I don't necessarily want. I'm not going to discard to draw a card. I'll be fine with that. And then I believe we go with a 1, 2, 3. Wolverine's in play. 1, 2, and equip them. Nah, we'll put Soul Cleaver instead of the Shadow Spear, just with the potential to get so much bigger. Untapping. Bop is not a bad card, but I think we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Seedborn Muse. And right now we're starting to struggle a little bit on drawing. So we're running out of cards. That's why I was saying, like, you need to draw a lot of cards. So next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think we do Mizzix's Mastery. I think we might have wanted to do it this turn. So I think that's what we do. We do 6 and 7, which will surveil us on the cast. What are we doing? Probably binning it. And then I'm going to discard a card to draw a card. Be Goblin. And then we're testing everything. I mean, artifact or instant sorceries at this point. Not a lot, but we're kind of desperate at this point. We will do the 3 visits, which will surveil us. That'll Ancient Tomb goes away. And then we will discard a card to draw a card. Okay. And then we will face looting. Exiled. We will surveil. Probably been the ordeal. And then we will discard the druid and draw a card, which is bite down. And then we will cosmic hunger, kill something. We will surveil. And then I don't want to discard and draw a card. That is exiled. Just did a lot there. I mean, we only recast like 3 spells, but that did some stuff. We got to see a lot of cards there. There'd be at least 1 counter on there. Whipty ding dong. And it'll be 2 at the end of turn. And then the next turn, Sheltered Thicket. That comes into play. Okay. So we will cycle that away to draw a card. We will 2, 3, 4. I fucked that up. Probably. Give me a second. I would not have done that. I would keep that in my hand. I would play Seedborn Muse, because then I can cycle it once everything untaps. That is likely what I would do. There would be, I could have a green open. We will bite down. There will be a surveil aspect of it. We know that. I don't even want that at this point. And I don't want to discard or draw a card. Oh, I guess I could do that. Well, I'm already doing it. Okay. On somebody else's turn, untapping, Soul Ring, discarding the cycle to draw a card. I'm fine with that. See, again, this one feels, I don't know how threatening that is. You know, he might be getting big with Tyrion Soul Cleaver. Like, that's kind of a nice aspect of it. But other than that, it seems plotting. And I think for my deck, it needs to hit a Chandra's Ignition type card. That'll keep Wolverine around, make him huge, and then kind of kill people. So that part is fun when you can get that. And so if you're able to see a ton of cards, I think that's the way to do it. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Um, any comments? Appreciated. Let me know if you like something with Wolverine. What part of Wolverine that you kind of like. Captain America's dope. I really like it. So if you do end up building, let me know what you think on that as well. Otherwise, thanks a ton. Hopefully you had a good night. Bye.